Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the Wayward Skein. Today is Sunday, February 10th. I was going to say 2nd, but no, that's the month. So February 10th, and here we are. It's been still a bit of a hectic week, but my boss's boss is back on Monday, and I will be celebrating. I think my boss will be celebrating as well. With potentially the largest pitcher of margaritas she can find. No, I'm being facetious. My boss is not a big drinker. So anyway, it has been a crazy week. I have very little knitting progress to show you because, and this really should have occurred to me sooner, I sprained my wrist last Saturday and it didn't kick in that's why my wrist hurt until Sunday night. Well, after I recorded, I was knitting and I was like, oh, this really hurts. So I was taking painkillers, and it wasn't until Sunday night when I was going to bed and I put my hand down to get into bed and I was like, oh. And that's when it clicked that, hey, I fell down on the way to work on Saturday onto my wrist. I slid outside my front door onto a very rock hard snowbank. So it didn't occur to me, but yeah, I had fully sprained my wrist. And here I was just going about my business, taking painkillers, going to work, and lifting heavy stuff at the store anyway. Not my finest moment. So Tuesday night, I talked to my boss and I said, look, if I could have a bagger all the time, that'd be great. Because normally I'm the first one to lose my bagger because I can do it myself. And I will do it myself if I don't have a bagger. So, whereas some of the other cashiers have been known to just sit there and wait for a bagger or make the customers bag things themselves. So we're supposed to be a full service grocery store. We're a higher end grocery store. So stuff is a little bit more expensive. We provide a little bit more service, tit for tat. So, I asked my boss, I said, if you could just make sure that I have a bagger all the time tonight, that'd be great, because I really hurt my wrist, and it's my dominant wrist, so ow. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I did my best to mostly use my left hand and not push heavy stuff through with my right. I refused to move cases of water, cases of beer, things like that. I would get my bagger to come around and get them. So by Saturday morning, when I had to go back to work, it was a lot better. My physio did some ultrasound and some electrical stimulation with it on Thursday. So that helped a lot. And oh, my physiotherapist, he's fantastic. And he said something to me on Thursday that really made me laugh. He said, I'm not sure it's tendons and ligaments holding you together so much as, oh, maybe silly string. So I will be going back to my doctor to see if I can get a blood test for Ehlers-Danlos, because yeah, my joints are garbage. They always have been. And there's a possibility that I was misdiagnosed with arthritis when I was a child. So anyway, we'll see where that brings us. Either way, it just means I have to be a lot more careful with my joints. So you guys came for knitting because it's a knitting show. There's a little bit of knitting progress to talk to you about, but not a lot. I did not make it to the end of the sock. I made it halfway, because once the gusset decreases end right here, I had to do 45 rows before I could start the toe decreases. I made it 21. I did not have a lot of bus time this week, so I didn't have a lot of knitting time this week. There was teenager drama. So one day I had to drive to work, and there was also one morning I woke up super late, so I ended up taking a cab to work. Yeah, it's just been and one day it was so icy outside that I wasn't going, because we had an ice storm earlier in the week, and I wasn't going to try to make it the 2 blocks to the bus stop. I walked out my front door and slid to the snowbank. And went, nope, and walked back inside. So that morning, it's been an expensive week because I took a taxi twice, which wasn't great, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, I didn't get a lot of bus time, so not a lot of knitting time on the sock, but wrist is feeling a lot better as long as I don't do anything stupid. Like the other night I was Thursday night, I think, I stretched in bed and twinged it again, and I was like, really? So I have to be careful, but I should be able to knit, no problem. So I will be finishing this week because I only have 23 rows to do on the foot, and then I get the row decreases. I'm up to like 7 or 8 rows on the bust, so it should work. I'm really hoping that the audio is not too far out of sync with the video this week. I shut everything I could down, but it's still giving me that boop error message that, oh, hey, you don't have enough resources to run this software. I'm hoping this is the last week I have to deal with this. That you have to deal with this, but I really, really like the increased picture quality, so I'm making you deal with the unsynced audio for 1 more week. I've also tried something a little bit different with the lighting, which unfortunately is glaring in my glasses, so I'm going to have to try to find something else. So this is my standard sock for Rob. It's a 3x2 rib based on Stephanie Pearl McPhee's sock recipe, which is published in her Knitting Rules book, which I actually don't have a copy of. I took her Rock the Sock class, and that's when she described the recipe to us. And I've honestly, if I want to knit a plain vanilla sock, I don't need a pattern. So I don't follow a pattern for Rob's socks. I do have a standard formula, which I've described before. It's 75 rows for the leg, 20 back and forth rows for the heel flap, 45 rows from the end of the gusset decreases to the toe decreases. I make all his socks exactly the same, and he loves them, so there we are. This is the second sock. The first sock is still on a sock blocker, but it's now buried in stuff, so I'm not going to pull it out. I use my lovely little needle keeper from Mandy Pinecone Crafts with her standard hot pink fabric on the inside. And this lives in my beautiful little whoopie pie bag. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble today, but every time I'm talking, I feel like I'm like kind of gasping for breath here, so I'm going to try to slow myself down a little bit. Perhaps if I had switched to tea from Diet Coke this morning, I would be a little less hyped up, but there we are. So I've been knitting on this for... Hi. I started these in the fall, hoping that I would get them done for his birthday. That didn't happen. I don't even think I finished the first one for his birthday. So anyway, they will be his 2019 socks, as they should be. These are knit out of Gnome Spun Puka Base in the Brave colorway, which I absolutely love. Isn't that gorgeous? That's showing a teensy bit more orange, but that's because it's a yellow light pointing at me. What? Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, you silly furball. You want to say hi? Come say hi. Say hello. Okay. I know you don't see the little people's faces, so you're confused. Hi. She's purring up a storm right now. You can't hear it, but... Hi. Well, you wanted to come up. You want to get back down? Billy Floof. Off you go. She does that when I'm on the phone. She does it when I'm VKNing with people. Anytime she can hear me talking to somebody, she needs to be involved. The other night I was talking to my ex on the phone, and she was like, meow, meow, meow. And I was like, okay, fine. And I held the phone out to her. And my ex is like, what are you doing? Because like I said fine, and all of a sudden I sounded far away. So he's like, what are you doing? I said, the cat wants to say hi. He's like, are you kidding me? And then the cat went, meow, and then trotted off happy as can be. She really, she just wants to say hi. I don't get it, but there we are. So the only other thing I did not meet my goal there. I did not meet my goal with the color affection, but I made a little more progress on the color affection. So this is the right side. And as you can see, there are more of those brown stripes than there were last week. There should be 4 more of those brown stripes. My goal was to do 5 color repeats, 3 colors. So I only did 4, but It's really coming along and I'm loving it. And I am now to the point where they join up almost at the end. You'll see this is where the last color joined to the original arc, the original crescent. And it's almost at the end of the initial crescent with the main color. So here, it comes up to about here. So I've only got that much more of the original crescent and then that much of the secondary crescent with the second color added in. And then I'm done and it's just a solid band of the brown. So I've made some excellent progress this week. I'm pretty proud of myself. This is upside down, it's the wrong side. So there we go, right side up. So I started out with one color, the main color here, which is the teal. They're all Night Owl fibers, basic sock. The main color is, sorry, that's blowing it out a little bit. It's because of this light over here. There we go. So this is Rusty Hook. That's the main color here. And then I added in this gorgeous orange, which is Pumpkin Spice Latte. Woo, sorry. And then the third color that I added in over here with those gorgeous stripes is Leather Boots. So there's going to be a band of leather boots solid at the bottom all the way across, as you can see in the picture on the pattern. That way. There we go. So you can see how it adds onto the, this was the, wow, directions. I used to work in television, could you tell? So the original main color there, the silver, and then the second gold adds all the way across the crescent. And then I started at this end, and I'm about here. So I've got that little bit extra to do, and then I get that solid band of what's red here will be brown on my shawl to finish it off. So I am really, really close. So close. I'm hoping I can finish it by the end of February. I'm not going to make it a goal to finish it next week because it's not going to happen. Something always happens to mess it up. I do have Thursday off from work because I needed a break. I needed sort of a half mental health day because my daughter has a couple of appointments in the afternoon, so I was going to take the afternoon off anyway for that. But I just decided that I was going to take the whole day off. I could use a day where I don't have to worry about doing anything till after lunch. So I've got Thursday off. I hope to get a bit of knitting done. And my screen time this week should help with that. I love the way these colors sort of bleed into each other. I would have liked to see what a fade looked like with these. Maybe I will, maybe that'll be a plan for next year. I do have a fade on the go, a Find Your Fade by Andrea Mowry, but I'm going to, it's going to come back into the rotation after this is done. So, because I had to figure out where I am. I put it down a good long time ago, at least 6-8 months ago. Probably closer to almost a year ago. So I knit a first Find Your Fade for my friend Tanya. It was originally going to be for me, but then the colors just screamed Tanya. It was sort of rainbowy, and she really loves rainbows, and it had yarn from a lot of us in our group of friends. It had yarn from some of the people who couldn't make it to her wedding. So I gave it to her as a wedding present, and so I decided that I wanted one for myself. So I started making an all blue version of the Find Your Fade. It's 7 different shades of blue, variegated, whatever. None of them are solid colors. I don't think I have a lot of solid colors in my stash. I need to work on that. But anyway, so I kind of wonder how this would look as a fade, because the Rusty Hook has those orange elements in it that go with the Pumpkin Spice Latte. It's not quite the same orange, but they sort of pick up on each other. And then the rest, the pumpkin spice latte has elements of brown in it that match the rusty boots. So I really like the way they sort of meld into each other, and I'm really curious to see how that would work with the fade. But anyway, so this is the Color Affection by Vera Valimaki. It is done, as I said, in Night Owl fibers, rusty hook, pumpkin spice latte, and leather boots. It's done in a size 4.5 millimeter needle, which is a US 7. I believe these are either Boy or Susan Bates needles from Michaels. I don't remember what brand they sell. It's one of those. And that has been living, of course, I don't have the project bag with me because it's been living on my desk, to be honest. But when I was carrying it around, it was in a Little Creek Designs bag, which is my friend Salma from the Little Big Knits podcast. So that's all the knitting progress I have this week, sadly. I'm itching to cast on a new project. I'm not sure. I want to cast on a new pair of socks for me. That's not going to happen until I finish Rob's socks. I'm also wanting to cast on a hat just as a palette cleanser to like get rid of some stash and contribute to my my next box that's going to the homeless shelter. So I don't know what I'm going to cast on yet. I haven't decided. I haven't even picked a stash for it. I have piles of stash. Maybe I will do a Tan Housebrook hat. Boston Jen just came out with a new pattern, the Tan Housebrook hat that matches her Tan Housebrook shawl from several years ago. I knit the Tan Housebrook shawl. I'm not sure where it is. I really need to clean my room. I have boxes in my room that have some of my knitwear in it and stuff like that, and I have to dig it all out and figure out how to organize it. So that's all I've done knitting-wise. I've done absolutely no reading. I've gotten addicted to the Just Know Mother-in-Law subreddit, which is awful. It's a forum dedicated to people who have terrible mothers or mothers-in-law who go there to vent about them. Now, I have to admit that I am beyond spoiled in that capacity. My late mother-in-law was a fabulous woman. She was such a wonderful person. She had the biggest heart of anybody I've ever met, and she was one of my favorite people, and I miss her a lot. My future mother-in-law is also an absolutely wonderful person, and I got along great with my late mother-in-law. I get along very well with my future mother-in-law. I have absolutely no cause to be on this forum other than feeding the drama llamas, basically. Honestly, I read it to remind myself of how good I have it. There have been times when I have followed threads about people's mothers or mothers-in-law when I've had to stop following that particular person because it was, I don't want to belittle this term by using it. It triggered me. It made me feel so anxious and so uncomfortable and so, it affected me emotionally. And I had to stop reading them because I didn't want to be affected like that. But I do read it for, I won't say enjoyment, because I don't enjoy hearing about this sort of thing, but it does really remind me of how good I have it. I've been blessed with amazing in-laws, not once, but twice. The guy I almost married in my 20s, not so great relationship with his mom. Absolutely horrible relationship with his mom. She hated my guts and she banned me from her home. So, which ultimately spelled the end of our relationship because he kept taking his mother's side. When she called me up one day, hours before we were supposed to take a long distance bus trip to her home for Thanksgiving weekend, she called me at work and said, "You're not welcome in my home. Don't come this weekend." And so that was uncomfortable. I'd been engaged to her son for 2 years. So I basically told him, you know, if you go for Thanksgiving, I'm going to have your stuff packed when you get back. I'm not living like this. His mom had us firmly under her thumb. She was an unpleasant person. a very controlling, unpleasant person. And he was more concerned about being on his mom's good side than maintaining his relationship with me. So his stuff was packed when he got home. And that was the end of that. The phrase dodged a bullet comes to mind. I would imagine she has not improved with age, but I don't know because I'm no longer in contact with him. So anyway, I've been blessed with fabulous in-laws twice, and I'm very, very thankful. My only regret is that I never got to meet Rob's dad. Rob's dad died when Rob was a teenager, and his stepfather is a very nice man, but I would have loved to have met his father as well. So anyway, moving right along, the last time I talked to you guys about what I was watching, I had started season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've now completed season 5. I finished it last night amidst much sobbing. Why didn't anybody warn me? That last episode was a doozy. One of my favorite characters died. Not the one you're probably thinking of if you follow the series. It was very, very emotional for me. So I was pretty unhappy. I literally sobbed for about an hour. It's that time of the month. That was part of it, but also it was just, it was a lot. I've had a really rough couple of weeks at work. It's been very stressful. It's been very, very fast-paced and very, everybody's been on edge, and it's been a lot. So, it was a little cathartic to be able to sit there and watch TV and just bawl like a baby. But the good news is that I have one last series to watch before I get to watch, what the heck is it called? Infinity War. I have to watch season 2 of Jessica Jones. I'm about 3 or 4 episodes in right now. Literally all I did when I got home from work yesterday was watch TV. I plopped myself down and I watched TV. Which I'm not really accustomed to doing. I didn't watch anything almost all week because I was just so stressed out when I would get home from work. Either work, I had class on Thursday, so I got home late. I've just had a rough week. So last night and Friday night, I literally did nothing but watch TV. There was knitting going on, but I was being careful not to exacerbate what was going on over here. So I am now several episodes into season 2 of Jessica Jones. I should be finishing it sometime this week, and by the time I talk to you next week, I expect that I will have watched Infinity War. So you will not have to hear any more about my Marvel stuff. God, it's been a long road. Marvel, you need to stop coming out with separate series and just smoosh it together. Ah! Inhumans, why was that part of this? Runaways, why was that part of this? I hope it becomes clear in Infinity War, because if those 2 things had nothing to do with Infinity War, I'm going to be annoyed that I had to sit through them. They were okay to watch. They were not my favorite. If they had nothing to do with the plot, honestly, I'm not really sure what Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Iron Fist have to do with Infinity War either. But we'll see what happens. I could be completely off base here. I haven't seen it. I don't know. In the wonderful world of podcasts, holy crap, you people have been busy. This week, Steeped in Books, who is True Canuck Girl on Ravelry, and she is the Canadian Knitter podcast as well, put out 5 videos. There were 2 weekly reading vlogs. The last one came out right after my podcast episode, so I didn't get to tell you about that one. Since then, she has put out her January 2019 month-end wrap-up, her February 2019 Create Your Own Readathon, that's a Y, it looks like an I, March Mystery Madness, and then her weekly reading vlog ending on the 8th, February 2nd to 8th. So check that out if you're interested in reading at all. She's got a booktube channel. It's really popular. It's super great. I love watching it. In other podcasts, The Gentle Knitter, hi Nicole, she came out with episode 27, which is titled Speaking from the Heart. And I highly recommend watching it. It was very good. Cherry Hart has a new podcast out. She's a crocheter who has a podcast. Her name is Sandra. She came out with episode 62 this week. The Knit Girls put out episode 426. Ninja Chickens has a big milestone episode this week. She put out episode 50, so congratulations. The Knitting Expat put out episode 132, as well as a prize drawing video for a giveaway she was doing. My friend Chantel at Fiberific published a video on unboxing Nancy's Knit Knacks order. Knit Knack is kind of clever. We used to have a store here in Ottawa called Knit Knackers. They moved to Smiths Falls, and I think maybe they've closed since then, but I'm not sure. I haven't been to Smiths Falls in a while. Sarah Nova Crafts put out episode 157 talking about her trip to Israel. Must Love Yarn put out episode 121. I haven't gotten around to that one because it just came out on Friday, but I will be watching it soon. The Bakery Bears put out episode 118, which I haven't watched because it's 2 hours long and I haven't had time. And Night Owl Fibers, I watched like minutes after it came out. Minutes after it was published, I watched it. I watched it after I went to bed on Friday night, and so I was watching it on my phone. But it was really nice to be able to sort of, no, I didn't watch it on my phone because I was knitting while I watched it. I was working on the Color Affection. So this was Friday night. I actually went to bed super late because of this. Because I saw it pop up on my YouTube and I wanted to watch it. So I stayed up till almost 1 o'clock in the morning watching it and knitting. They put out episode number 22, and I say they because it was Rachel and her mom Brenda. So it was really super nice to have sort of like a little knit night with Rachel and Brenda. The only time I get to see them face to face is at Stitches Midwest, and I did not go to Stitches Midwest last summer, so I didn't get to see them. Rachel vends at most of the Stitches events, and if you have never gotten to see her booth, you need to go to a Stitches event near you because she is very creative. In 2017, she had a Christmas tree in her booth, like a full-size Christmas tree. And she had hung samples of her socks. I don't know, was it 2017 or 2016? I think maybe it was 2016. But anyway, she had all of her striped sock yarns knit up into samples and hung on the Christmas tree. Oh no, she had balls on the Christmas tree. Sorry. Yeah, so it was 2017. Don't mind me, I'll be okay. So that's what's been going on in the wonderful world of podcasts. Miss Kate, Miss Selma, I miss you guys. Chop chop. No pressure. Selma said she might be putting a podcast episode out this weekend. So I'm crossing all my appendages and hoping so because I really miss seeing her face. We've been trying to get together for lunch for the last 3 weeks now so she could get her prize for the Bijou Basin Cal. We haven't managed yet. We work a block apart. It's been crazy for both of us. So, plus she had a whirlwind trip to New York in there somewhere with Vogue Knitting Live. So we haven't seen each other. But I'm hoping that this week sees a little bit more knitting and a little bit less stress. It will definitely be less stressful because I won't be doing two people's jobs anymore. My boss will not be doing two people's jobs anymore. It will be a little bit easier to manage, and we're going to work on the filing system. Filing makes my little organizational heart happy. Despite the disorganization you see back here and the rest of my house, it makes me very happy to organize things. It's the sort of thing that sort of brings joy to my cold, dead little heart. So, you know, seeing things neatly in rows and properly put away, and that makes me happy. So, I don't have much else to talk about. I will see you guys all next weekend. And this week is Valentine's Day. I don't do Valentine's Day personally. I never have. It just doesn't appeal to me. Plus, Rob and I never just happen to be in the same place at the same time in February. So It's just not a thing that I do. I don't know. The idea of fighting with all the other people who are trying to get reservations in restaurants and things like that just doesn't appeal to me. Plus, it kind of feels like a made-up holiday. Like, I'd rather celebrate our anniversary and things like that and just have little spontaneous things happen throughout the year. And we do that. So I'm not too concerned about Valentine's Day, but if you celebrate it, have a good one. If you don't, that's perfectly okay. And if it bothers you, hunker down, watch funny movies, do what you gotta do to get through it. It's like Christmas. If you need to reach out, I'm here. There are other people who are around. Reach out if you need to. So be kind to one another, and I hope everybody has a great week. And I will say bye-bye.